watching Channel 66, and this is a first series of many called Shining a Light. And I'm your host, Gerri McCritty from Pava Gallery, also multidisciplinary artist. Today, I'm going to be shining a light on someone who I feel is very special. He also works with me at Pava Gallery as Pava Gallery's DJ. So I will be shining a light on Mr. Dumas Thompson. Dumas, how are you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing well.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So I want to start off by asking you to please just introduce yourself to our viewers and let them know what it is you do. Dumas, from what I understand, is a DJ, sound engineer, music producer, and also a spiritual guidance. Many titles. And he's very good at what he does. That's why he's here. And I'm shining a light on it. So please, tell me a little bit of your background, Dumas.
So I've been DJing since I was 4. You know, doing like the backyard parties and the family reunions. And of course they escalated and turned into sweet 16s and weddings and things of that nature. And then got into producing. From DJing, because you know in the 90s it was usually the MC and a DJ, and that was kind of the core of the group. And then that escalated into producing music, and then copywriting music, and then recording music.
Wow.
Then post-production, and then of course eventually I had to open my own studio, which sort of stopped the DJing, because I needed to focus more on learning the business. So I ended up going to school for that. So I have a bachelor's in business, a specialty in music. And then it sort of took like a weird turn.
Weird?
So like over the years of having the studio, I would get a lot of younger artists coming in. And sometimes we wouldn't actually even get to the music. We would just be talking about sort of the content, subject matter, and then that would bring out life experiences or troubles or, you know, at one point in time they were called like at-risk teens.
Yeah.
So having the studio, it started to become sort of like a hub where I would find resources for them. So not only would they come for trying to record music and make their mixtapes and but a lot of them, we knew that a lot of them weren't going to make it.
Right.
They just didn't have the fortitude or the drive for it. But while they were coming, we would start doing stuff to help them get jobs. If they were teenage parents, we would give them resources to, you know, take care of their children. And then it just became sort of like a mentoring kind of a thing, which then, of course, escalated into me going to school. I went to Lancaster Theological Seminary.
Okay.
So then that became sort of the spiritual guidance piece.
Gotcha.
Because I felt like I needed to give them more than sort of just these resources for their physical needs.
Okay.
But they needed like a goal. They needed an aim. So it couldn't just be, I'm doing this because this is the right thing to do. And they needed to understand who they were as young men. So
I have a question. 4 years old, you started DJing. 4 years old.
Yeah.
As a DJ myself, what clicked in your mind to go there at 4 years old?
So I know a lot of younger people probably won't remember this or even know this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of just starting to come back, like the portable turntables that are out now.
Yes.
So, you know, back in the day, if you went to Sears, Roebuck,
right,
they had like the little turntables that were the suitcases.
Yep.
So my dad was born in New York, native New Yorker, and then my grandmother, his mother, moved to Lancaster.
Okay.
So they lived over on Chester, and they had like the house like right on the corner. So it was one of those old houses where part of the basement is still above ground.
Okay.
And so he would put his speaker underneath the porch, and he would go to New York every week or every weekend
Yeah.
and get like the latest jazz album, the latest soul, the latest whatever it was. Then he would come back and he would play it out to the entire neighborhood.
Wow.
So being like my earliest memories are being in the basement with him, and like he'd have like these stacks of records. Of course, he had them stacked the wrong way. You're not supposed to stand them up, but that's another story. He'd have them stacked up, and I could remember walking like through them like it was a maze, and it was just every kind of music you could think of, and he was just playing them, and then his friends would come in and they would play chess and talk music and fashion, and then him and my mom, they didn't work out, so when they separated, one of the last things that he gave me was one of those little suitcase record players.
Yes.
And then from 4 or 5 years old, my mom would still buy me 45s, and I played the 45s, and then it became like a thing when relatives would come over. Hey, where's that one record? I know your mom just bought you the. And so I would play my little 3, 4 records, and everybody loved it. And then, you know, as I got older, I started buying my own records. I would play my mom's records, and I became the DJ for the family. So
Okay. So what's your genre of music? What do you play?
everything.
Okay.
Literally, like everything from speed metal to world beat to jazz to country, folk, you name it.
Yeah.
I spin it.
And what are some of the places you played in the Lancaster area?
So when I moved here in 2013, I played at Tellers for like 3 years.
Okay.
Shout out to Nick.
Hi, Nick.
He actually got me the gig at the Chameleon.
Okay.
My friend Dave, who owns, I gotta remember, it's called the Dreaming Human now, and it's on Chestnut and Prince.
Okay.
It's like right on the corner. But he used to have like 2 stores over. It was, if it's the Dreaming Human now, it was Boho Zone. It used to be called Boho Zone. So I DJ'd there a couple times for him. I did a couple things at the Village, but that was usually with somebody. They were never really my gigs. I kind of was like their relief.
Gotcha. Okay.
The Paul Revere Tavern out on 30.
So you've been all over.
Yeah.
You've been all over.
Yeah.
So where are some of the places you're playing today? Now.
Of course, you know my main home is Papa Gallery. So.
Can you share with me, as a Pava Gallery owner, what is it about Pava Gallery that you like to play your music?
Pava is like, for those of you who have not been to Pava yet, stop playing games. Just come down. Just come see us. Just come be part of the energy, the movement. Pava is a space that allows for you to be present in your full self, your full, genuine, sincerest self. Like, you don't have to pretend, you don't have to posture, you don't have to act like you like something when you don't really like it, and there's no clicks, there's no like, you can just come there and be. And the way that you create the art and curate the art, because, you know, was it like 85% of the work that's there is yours, but
Yes.
you do have other pieces from other artists,
Yes.
but it fits in the space.
Yes.
So when you come in the space, the energy just kind of, it doesn't overwhelm you and knock you over, but it envelops you and just holds you in the space. So when I'm DJing there, I always kind of just feel like I belong. So whenever I'm playing something, it's usually motivated or inspired either by the artwork, by the friendship, the relationships of other people that I'm not even part of.
Right.
Because you know so many people, Tito's knows so many people, Miss Coco knows, like, all the friends and family that are always coming through, and the way that you guys gel and the dynamic, it kind of pulls
Okay.
certain music out. Like you know what would be perfect right now? I'm watching Miss Jerry do this, and I'm watching Mama Coco. It's like certain things you just feel like this is the right song for that moment. And not to pat myself on the back, but I'm usually right.
Don't pat yourself on the back, because you do a pretty good job.
Thank you.
So let's move on to the sound engineering part.
Okay.
How did you get into that?
So when I was about 12, 12, my sister's boyfriend at the time wanted to be a rapper.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a DJ. And then about that age was when I learned about radio journalism.
Okay.
So it was like, if I wanted to DJ on the radio, I had to do this other thing. And I was willing to make the sacrifice.
I see where that voice comes from.
So, you know, WKRP in Cincinnati was my favorite show. Venus Flytrap, the one DJ on there. That was my guy. So I wanted to, I wasn't emulating him, but I wanted to be him. Because when they would show him on the show, he didn't really do a bunch of journalism. He kind of just played the music. So my sister's boyfriend who wanted to rap, saw that I was DJing. He was like, Doom, I need you to come DJ for me when I rap. But at this time, we weren't really making our own music. I was just kind of playing instrumentals for him to rap to at like talent shows and things of that nature. So, of course, by the time we hit about 17, 18, we were tired of using instrumentals and we wanted to make our own music. We wanted to be original with the whole movement. So then, we started investing in drum machines, and then samplers came out, and then sequencers came out. So it was like, I'm making the music now. So I'm still kind of DJing, but I'm making the music now, and he's making these songs, but we don't have any place to record them. So now I have to go get the recording equipment because we couldn't afford studio. This is early 90s. So we can't afford studio time.
So the studio was your basement.
So we had to start buying the little multi-track, the little cassette multi-tracks, and then the digital ones came out. And as the technology further advanced, what we were able to do without having to go to the studio, I then started to just move into it. And then at some point where it was like, I'm pretty good at this. But I couldn't get a job in the studio because we were in that window of time where internships weren't really happening anymore because technology was allowing for people to do 3 and 4 people's jobs. It wasn't like when you had an engineer, but he had 2 assistants because the board was 124 channels. Now you've got it's automated. They don't need the assistant. The intern really is just getting coffee and cleaning. So I couldn't get in that way. So I actually went to school for it.
Nice.
And then, with that, came back. By the time I got finished with my degree, he was no longer rapping and he was no longer my sister's boyfriend.
So then that took you into the producing. I mean, how that? I would assume
so when I went for my degree, one of my professors who was the legal professor, he taught contracts and things of that nature, he saw that I had a penchant for it. So he was like, I think you should really move into this. Because he knew I was really just doing it for production. I really wasn't interested in contracts and royalty. He was like, but you're not going to get paid if you don't understand this. So I sat with him and he
guided you through
He guided me through it, and I started to like it a little bit more. But my next professor was still a working musician. She was a violinist, and she literally would leave class to go to a job. And the funny part was, because at this point I'd been working in and out of studios for about 20 years at this point. I kind of knew production, I knew from composition to publishing. I knew everything that was going on. I still didn't really understand the pipeline of how the money worked with the royalties and whatnot. But when I got with her, and then she started to teach me about royalties, the unions, and how you can actually make money through placements, and I was like, okay, so you don't got to be a big star. You don't got to
Yeah.
be in people's faces.
Yeah.
That's like, it's a side perk if you become popular. But there's a lot of working musicians who nobody knows their names,
Yeah.
but they're making just as much money as some of these guys who are top
Yeah,
billers.
you got a point there, definitely. So, as far as producing, you still do that today,
Yes,
right?
heavily.
How does that work? Do clients come to you, or do you go out there looking for clients? Say somebody's watching this show today,
Okay.
and they wanted to do something. They've been looking for someone, but couldn't find or connect with the right person. How do you come about letting that person feel comfortable that you could do the job? What do you do to get your people to produce? Or do they just come to you? How does that work?
It's a little bit of everything. Because I have been doing it so long, I do have like word of mouth.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of clientele that I get just through friends of friends of friends. The DJing brings in people. And I also do remixes. So like, let's say that there's a song that's out, I'll actually remix the track and then put it on a social platform.
Gotcha.
With all the appropriate hashtags, and then whoever sees it, well, hey, who did that? How'd you do it? And
Yeah. So I'm assuming most of the time you work from home or you go to people's home, as far as doing the musical.
Well, I
You-
still
you
own my
have-
own studio.
Gotcha.
So I still have a studio, but I still get hired to go to other studios.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Which leads me into the spiritual guidance part. That's the part I've always, because I always felt you to be a spiritual person.
Mhm.
If you notice, every time when there's times for prayers, I call Reverend. And what struck in you to make you to still hold on to that and infuse it with what you're doing today? As far as, guiding people spiritually. As a matter of fact, explain to our viewers, what does spiritual guidance for you mean?
For me, it's helping people to connect with themselves. It's not really the like higher being sort of conversation.
Mhm.
It's more about you finding alignment for where you feel like your path is.
And could this be any religion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Because everybody doesn't follow the same path. They don't have the same journey. So you can't cookie cut everybody's walk of life. You have to. I had a professor who explained that teaching isn't about the top-down model, which is very prolific in our tradition.
Yeah.
I'm the teacher, I know best, and so you do what I tell you, and you'll.
Yeah.
She was of the philosophy that you were parallel, and so here's the teacher, here's the student, and there's a chasm. In order to get the help to the person, you have to figure out how to reach them, so that you can give them the thing so that they can reach back.
Yeah.
So it's not just you taking information and winging it at them.
Right.
It's like, no, how can I set this up so that we can do this work together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great way to end this segment. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Dumas, who's also known as DJ Mas P. Right? Did I say that
Yeah,
correctly?
you said it right.
All right.
You've been saying it for 3 years.
Right. And I'm your host, Gerri McCritty. Thank you for watching. You are watching Shining a Light. This is the first of many series. Tune in to see who we're going to be shining a light on next.